Welcome back, guys. We're here for Jaws 2.0.
I am hypnotized. What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through.
Hey guys, welcome back to Jaws. I am Jason Wahler.
And I'm Ashley Wahler.
Good to see you, babe.
Good to see you too.
So where are we at?
Well, if you can see, we've had a little bit of a scene change. My cousin's in town, so she's staying in the basement because we have been getting the nursery ready.
We put her in the basement.
Well, we have a bedroom down there. That's where we shoot all of our Jaws stuff. So we decided to bring this upstairs so we can make sure that we still got an episode in with you guys for this week. But we are so excited. The kids are in bed right now, so we are shooting this while they are sleeping, and we've got a tornado watch. So welcome to Tennessee, y'all.
Yeah, dude, I can't believe it. Nothing but craziness.
I know. So last week, if you guys tuned in, we talked about our mission statement. We had talked about like how we wanted to be remembered when we had passed away. So hopefully that was a good tip for you guys. And then today we're going to touch base on Jason's phone and also talk about our topic, which is going to be insanity. But I think that was like a big thing that I wanted to talk to you about was how's everything going with the phone? I've noticed a big shift from you since you got your new phone. And how's that been? I know the process was really stressful when it happened, but it's been like a couple weeks now. So I'm feeling like things are finally chilling out.
Yeah, no, it's been good. As you guys have heard for the last like 3 or 4 weeks, we've been talking about this phone thing. But finally made the shift. It's been incredible. I will tell you guys, just as far as my anxiety, and just like being overwhelmed has gone down probably by like 70 to 80%. Cause I'm really able to disconnect from like work and just outside stuff. And so what I ended up doing is I ended up keeping my original number, but I have it now as like an office phone. So I leave it at the office, and you know, myself and my assistant will actually be able to like answer it. So kind of like old school, like having a secretary, like, or, you know, just like there was like a landline.
Yeah.
And so Kimberly or myself will, you know, be able to use that Monday through Friday, from 9 to 5. But after that, I leave it at the office. And that way I'm not bringing work home with me. And it's actually been incredible. And I'll say like when I go to bed and I wake up in the morning and, you know, after I go and check my phone to have like a text message, it's a big sigh of relief. And I think, you know, part of like even why I entered into Al-Anon, just dealing with like codependency, people pleasing, all that stuff, is a lot of people, you know, reach out for help. And it's always really hard for me to say no or set boundaries. And it's, you know, I want to help out. But again, as I can't sacrifice my own health and well-being, my own family, my time for my program. I got my time with God and stuff like that to always try to help other people. And so again, service is a huge part of my program and it's very, very important to me. But also, I have to set that boundary. You know, I was struggling with that for forever. So if you guys are out there and you deal with this, like the overwhelm of the world, could be a good idea to switch the phone. I mean, it may sound cheesy or, you know, silly, but it's literally changed my life. And again, some people have way better and more healthy boundaries with phones and stuff than I do. But if you're out there struggling, again, maybe even just getting a new number, you don't need to keep both, but just a suggestion. So
I think it's really cool too, because ever since you've entered into Al-Anon is really when you started taking the actions and doing things. Because a lot of times you would say that you would do it and then it wouldn't happen, but like being able to have the tools now and saying like, this is not benefiting me anymore. And even though I love these people, because it's not like you have random people reaching out to you, it's like these are family members, these are friends of family members, these are like colleagues whose family members are dying. Like, of course you want to help them, but at what cost? When you're already like burnt out, you've been working all day, and then you're dealing with phone calls and taking phone calls on the weekends and on Sundays, and you know, our kids are in school throughout the week. So to be able to have that time with them, I know is so valuable for you, and you feeling like you're not being fulfilled in your home life because you're constantly feeling like you have to take care of everybody else. It's like your cup is always empty.
yeah.
And it took a long time to really recognize that, but I will say because of the fact that you're doing the actions of the Al-Anon program, it's helped a lot to be able to take those next steps. So I've noticed a big growth in you. I think it's really great that you have those boundaries when it comes to work and your phone, and you can still have a big heart without having to give up every single thing for other people.
You don't have to sacrifice your own health and well-being. And I think, I appreciate all that. Thank you very much. I think a vision is like really important, like just having a vision for like where I'm wanting to go with this. As you know, I've stated before, it's like I want more time with my family. I want more time, deepening a relationship with God, and I want more peace in my life. And again, is like even the phone stuff, even the things I was just stating right there, like it's a perfect example. It is if I didn't switch having that phone, by switching that phone and keeping that away, like it aligns with my family mission statement and aligns with the things that I'm wanting to accomplish. So it's good, but that vision is being able to create clarity, and like it's like, hey, is this adding or subtracting? And I'm starting to get rid of the things that I want in my life. So it's been good. Let's talk about insanity. I think you and I both are insane.
It's a perfect transition to insanity. Jason talked about switching the phone. He wanted it to get better, and then finally decided to switch the phone, and it got better because of the action. So insanity is like basically doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting to get different results. And I can tell you, I'm sure you too, like we can each share our own trials and tribulations with that, but I definitely have been an insane person in a lot of aspects of my life, especially with being with somebody.
Just kidding.
In active addiction is probably when I was the absolute most insane, because when Jason was in the depths of his addiction, he was very manipulative. So I wanted to believe that things were going to change, but I didn't change my actions. So I was listening to somebody else thinking their actions would change, and I would believe them. So I wanted them to change, but then they never did. So instead of me doing anything, I just was insane. I kept just believing, oh, it's going to be different. Oh, it'll be different. Oh, maybe if we change our house. Oh, maybe if I have a baby. Kept thinking that all of these things that would happen in my life would get you to be sober. And it was actually quite the opposite. The only thing that really helped get you to being sober was by me going to meetings and having boundaries, which is actually fascinating because I put so much action on him. Like, he needs to do this for me to be less insane, but really I needed to do something to be less insane.
Yep.
I mean, that's
so true.
It's so true. It's crazy when you look back at it because you are insane. Like, your reality is so distorted, and I hear it, with clients that are dealing with stuff, with everything, and you literally, now that you see it and you step away from it, you're like, wow, this person is so sick. I can't believe they're just continuing to do the same thing, and they just think that everything's going to change, or they create their own program based on what they believe is going to be best for them, even though the professional is like, you can't do that. This is what you need to do. And they're like, no, I need to do what's best for me. I know what I need. And it's like, well, actually, you've lost the right to make your decisions. That's how insane you are. So you got to listen to guidance. Otherwise, you will not change.
It's just so interesting to like be in the spot that we're in now. And like, again, when you're helping people, even like in some of our own family relationships, family dynamic, like when you like are able to remove yourself and kind of like take a step back and like evaluate the situation, it's just like, dude, what a cluster. You know what I mean? But when you're in it, you don't realize it. I mean, you're just so caught up in the situation. I mean, so like you dealing with what you just expressed, but like me from the addict's perspective, like literally thinking like things were going to be different. Every time I just won't use this much, or I only drink this much, or I only do it at this time or at this hour, or, certain days. And it's just the insanity of addiction. I mean, addiction is the only disease that tells you do not have a disease. It's a disease of denial, and it thrives in that area. I mean, it's like a survival gene. That's what I mean. What I say, when you're active in that thing, it will do anything it can to maintain and sustain getting high. It is absolutely crazy. And I think something to share with you guys, totally off of like the insanity portion, but like I think it's important to touch on, because if you're not somebody that struggles with addiction, it's really hard to comprehend and understand like what it is when somebody's in that like psychological state of mind. And so the closest thing I've ever been able to ever come up with in explaining this to somebody was with my dad. My dad always asked, like, why can't you just stop? I don't understand. I'm like, dude, because you don't understand addiction. But through that process, the only thing that I've ever been able to come up with that like could really relate to somebody that was a normie, and I don't know if I've ever even shared this with you or not, maybe I have, but it's like and again, this may sound super silly, but like, think if you've ever had to use the restroom really bad, or if you've had to, like, you're just dying of thirst, like that's the only thing you can think of. Like that's your only thought process. Like, again, using the restroom when you're driving in the car, and you're driving, you're like, oh my God, I need to unbuckle the seatbelt.
Oh, yeah.
Think of that mentality though, but somebody towards their substance. Like, as silly as that may seem, like, but that's literally what it is. Like, that's your primary focus, and it doesn't matter what's going on around you. Like, that's all that can matter. And I mean, like, there was times I remember drinking vodka, crying, saying I don't want to do this, but like literally I could not stop. And so again, I don't know if that's something that maybe helps provide a little bit of clarity of like what somebody you're dealing with in addiction is going through. Like, that is the thought process. It is completely irrational. You can't have a conversation with somebody that's in that state of mind. And that's not just towards, it's towards any substance, as long as they're active in it. And that's like the severity of it. So complex, so multifaceted. And that's why there's got to be something that disrupts the process, whether it's, an intervention, whether somebody has got to get arrested, whether something has to happen, but that you got to disrupt that process for somebody to be able to get out of that state of mind and actively arrest the disease and get stabilized. It's crazy, but being in that, like, basically stating that, and I think it's important for you guys to understand too, is like when an alcoholic and an addict's using like our frontal cortex, which is our executive operating system, like when an addict uses, like, and that's like the basic things. I need to brush my teeth. I gotta go run an errand. I gotta make lunch. Like the way you, like your executive operating skills, like when you drink and use, it completely like shuts down. And so you can't, you that's where we always say you lose that right to make your own decisions. And so, it's just fascinating and it's crazy. And insanity. I think for a lot of the people that have been watching, we've been getting a lot of comments and a lot of responses from people just, asking for guidance and direction. And I think the first thing that, you can look at is just what role are you playing in the situation that you're dealing with? And to Ashley's point, like, hey, we don't have the power to change anybody. The only thing we have the power to do is influence change. And that's by taking the steps and the initiations that, will best help and support you. And by Ashley helping herself, it got her to a place where I was able to help myself. And so I think it's really important.
Yeah, I just too was going to touch on like, it's amazing. And also the reason why we do this is because addiction is a family disease. If you listen really hard, Jason was insane and I was insane the whole time that he was using. We're both insane. It's not like just the addict's insane and the family does not have a problem. It's like, no, everybody has a problem. Everybody contributes. And until you're ready to admit that, the addict's chance of actually being in recovery is so minimal until the family can actually get the help that they need, because they are a contributing factor to the problem.
And I think 100%. It's really important to understand, like, wherever there is an alcoholic or an addict, there is a codependent, and sometimes they are just as sick, if not sicker. And in this situation, like, there was times where Ashley, I think we've discussed this before. There was times where your behaviors and mannerisms were just as bad as mine, if not worse off, and just the way that you were behaving. They can still get like that. Yeah, that's actually very true. Very, very honest.
No, like, really, they can. Like, I can go into insanity mode. That's the thing too. It's like, we're humans. I mean, we definitely, addiction is life or death. Like, abstinence has to be the number one goal, and it has to be the number one thing. Otherwise, they can die. When it comes to Al-Anon, codependency is not a life or death situation. Codependency is something that you have to constantly work on, and it's something that can easily come back up if you're not working a program. Now, it's not like if you're codependent and it's different from addiction in that aspect. But it will create insanity in your own brain, like I say, the itty bitty shitty committee, because it comes back in, it will feed those parts of your insecurities and those things that tell you that you're not insane, and you'll stop doing the actions to make you feel better about yourself. And then that's when you start like beating yourself up, and your brain keeps telling you, I'm not worthy, I'm terrible, I'm this, I'm that. And that's just, it happens in general for people.
Well, it's so crazy just thinking, like, you talking about your side and like me, like when I was in active addiction, like, dude, there were so many times like I didn't even know it was true or false anymore. I mean, that's just like how insane I was getting. I mean, I've eaten a hot dog telling people I was having a hamburger.
And then you would tell me you're having a hamburger, and I would believe you. And I'd be like, there's a hot dog right there, and he's eating it. And he'd be like, Ashley, it's a hamburger. And I'd be like, it's a hot dog. He'd be like, it's not a hot dog, it's hamburger. And I'd be like, I'm seeing a hamburger now. I mean, that is literally the truth of the disease of addiction. The dance is so powerful. The manipulation is so powerful that you could literally be eating a hot dog, but like my eyes are so blinded because I'm believing every single thing that you're saying. I'm addicted to the addiction. And that's really how the codependent is so involved in the addiction. It's like they're addicted to the addiction. And this happens not even in like relationships wise. Well, I'm going to say like marriage and stuff. It happens in family dynamics a lot. You know, they're not necessarily addicted to the addiction, but they're addicted to making sure that the addict is okay. And so in that aspect, they do the checking up. Are you drinking? Are you doing this? They do the poking the bear where they ask 21 questions, or they put up boundaries, but they're fake and they move them. And everyone's just so sick.
Yeah, it doesn't. I think what you're saying is obviously codependency goes way outside the scope of husband and wife. I mean, it bleeds through the whole family. I mean, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles. I mean, it can run as deep as it.
It's multi-generational.
Yeah,
like
it's literally multi-generational. For sure. I got my codependency from my mother, 100%, and I think that I've always been a codependent person. But having somebody that is in addiction and being with somebody in addiction ignited my codependency to like a whole nother level. Yeah, no, for sure. Well, I think we'd love to hear your guys' feedback. You know, if you are struggling with codependency or feel like you're in this insane dance that you're going through, whether it's with a spouse, a significant other, a friend, a loved one, comment below. We'll try to provide, some of our insight, guidance, and feedback just from our personal experience, but we'd love to hear back from you guys. But we hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the week. We thank you for joining us, and this is a good topic. I think insanity is something important to talk about. And look, we've gotten a lot better, but it's progress, not perfection, right? Just going through the motions of this stuff, and
it's actions, you guys, not just words. You gotta work the program.
What you put in is what you'll get out. So again, remember that. Like, look, you go to the gym once a week, you're gonna get the results of going once a week. You go to the gym 5 times a week, you're gonna get the results of going 5 times a week, and that goes towards your program, towards recovery, towards Al-Anon, towards Enable, whatever it may be. Just remember, you got to put forth the work. So great point, action. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.